After 4 years as the RB1 in Chicago, David Montgomery left the Bears for Detroit this offseason to sign a 3-year, $18 million deal with the Lions. His departure created one of the league's most difficult running back rooms to decipher for 2023 fantasy football. Not only is there no clear and obvious workhorse to inherit the RB1 job, but there are 3 options for fantasy drafters to choose from. Pretty gross, right? But more than likely, one of the 3 will emerge as the clear winner when we look back at the end of the 2023 season. Will it be Khalil Herbert? He is the clear favorite. Or the rookie Roschon Johnson? I mean, everybody loves a rookie breakout. But what about D'Onta Foreman? Backfield headaches like these typically overwhelm the casual drafters and cause them to avoid a particular backfield altogether. And that's certainly taken the easy way out. But what if I told you that running backs who wind up becoming major advantages in season-long fantasy leagues often come from these ambiguous backfields? Think about it. The hit rates in the middle to late rounds are really not very good. So if you manage to hit on one of them, you're now adding a significant piece to your lineup that you drafted in the same rounds that your league mates are swinging and missing more often than not. That's why our mission today is to peel back the onion and determine which Bears running back we want for fantasy football. And if we get it right, we will gain a huge advantage on our league mates. I'm going to go through all 3 running backs and make a case for each. And then at the end, I'll put it all together and we'll determine which of these running backs that we want to draft in fantasy football. Let's dig in. We'll start with the leader in the clubhouse, Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert's ADP currently resides in the 11th round on Underdog, where he's the RB40 off the board. Herbert is entering his 3rd season in the NFL after the Bears drafted him in the 6th round in 2021. In 2 years behind David Montgomery, Khalil Herbert has a combined 1,165 rushing yards, 23 receptions, and 7 touchdowns. He has played well in the few opportunities he's had to lead the Bears' backfield. When David Montgomery missed week 3 last season, Khalil Herbert went off for 169 total yards and 2 touchdowns on his way to the overall RB1 finish. And even on a bigger sample, Khalil Herbert has been efficient. On 129 carries in 2022, Khalil Herbert ranked top 5 in true yards per carry, number 7 in yards per touch, and number 7 in evaded tackles per touch. He also had a fairly high breakaway run rate of 5.4%, which ranked inside the top 24 running backs according to playerprofiler.com. Herbert has scored at least 15 fantasy points in 5 of the 8 games during his career in which he had at least 12 rush attempts. At 5'9", 210 pounds, the former Virginia Tech star has the size and athleticism to be an effective workhorse in the NFL. The Bears drafted Roschon Johnson in the 4th round of the 2023 NFL Draft. Johnson spent most of his college career in the shadow of Bijan Robinson, but he flashed an exceptional skill set when given the opportunity. At Texas, Roschon Johnson showed excellent vision, patience, and instincts. He's a big back at 6 feet, 219 pounds, who runs with a dangerous mix of power and finesse. And he has the athleticism to be a lead back in the NFL. Even in a part-time role, Johnson averaged 6 yards per carry over the last 2 seasons at Texas for a combined 1,123 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns. Where he really gets the edge in the Bears' backfield, though, is with his receiving skills. Because he was behind Bijan Robinson, the numbers don't accurately reflect his true talent in this area of the game, but Roschon Johnson proved to be a natural receiver when given the opportunity. He caught 25 passes over the last 2 seasons, and he had 23 during his true freshman year. In a backfield where he's competing with 2 running backs who are clearly not pass catchers, this gives Roschon Johnson a real edge for playing time. And scouts will agree that Roschon Johnson was one of the better pass-blocking running backs to enter the NFL in recent seasons, which will make his case for a 3rd down role that much stronger. If Johnson can capture a significant role on passing downs, that will really open up his ceiling from a fantasy football standpoint. Let's say Khalil Herbert is the RB1, but he goes down with an injury. Roschon Johnson could presumably take on 60% of Herbert's rush attempts on top of his 3rd down role. And in that case, he would become a weekly starter in fantasy lineups. D'Onta Foreman has been hanging on to fantasy relevance for the last few years, and he will try to do it again with the Bears in 2023. Foreman proved to be an effective between-the-tackles runner with the Panthers last season. With Christian McCaffrey traded to the 49ers midway through the season, D'Onta Foreman took over as the team's primary option on early downs. He showed he still has plenty of juice at age 26, topping the 100-yard mark 5 times. He averaged 4.5 yards per carry and was top 10 in the NFL in runs of 15 yards or more. Now in Chicago, D'Onta Foreman is the veteran of the Bears' backfield. That could give him an edge in his efforts to lock down a significant portion of the 1st and 2nd down work. Before we get into how I think this Bears backfield will play out in 2023, if you are enjoying this video and find it at all valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll be pumping out content like this all summer long. And hey, leave me a comment. Let me know what you want me to talk about next. There is certainly opportunity to be had in the Bears backfield. After all, the team ran the ball on 56.2% of their plays in 2022. We have to go all the way back to the 2009 Jets to find a higher rate. Now, of course, 160 of those attempts came from the quarterback position, but it's clear that the Bears offense prioritizes the running game. And the addition of offensive tackle Darnell Wright with the 10th overall pick will only help create more running lanes. The overall efficiency of the offense should improve as well, with another year of experience for quarterback Justin Fields, more comfort in the offensive system for everybody, and the acquisition of wide receiver DJ Moore. While that may not directly impact the running game, a more efficient offensive unit creates more opportunities for everybody in the offense. Khalil Herbert appears to be first in line for opportunity, and ADP data indicates that the general fantasy football market agrees, as he is the first Bears running back to come off the board. However, his rank as the RB40 really reveals just how uncertain this backfield situation is. But Herbert's experience with the coaching staff, the offense, and teammates give him the initial edge. And if he can continue to be as efficient as he's been in that smaller sample, it's going to help him retain the top spot. Herbert will likely begin the season as the top touch getter, particularly on early downs and at the goal line. Nonetheless, both Roschon Johnson and D'Onta Foreman will be involved from the beginning. This backfield could really begin the season as messy as the ADPs indicate. But as roles evolve, there's a real chance that the rookie Roschon Johnson emerges as the favorite in passing situations. Of the three, Roschon Johnson has the clear edge in this area of the game. That's because neither Herbert nor Foreman possess the receiving skills to be a true three-down threat. In 5 years of college football, Khalil Herbert caught just 34 passes, which was 6.8 per season. In the NFL, he has just 23 on 28 targets. And D'Onta Foreman's receiving profile is even worse. He caught just 13 passes in college, and he has just 23 receptions in 5 NFL seasons. This is where the door opens for somebody like Roschon Johnson to gain an opportunity in this backfield. And we already talked about Roschon Johnson's skills in the passing game, but now that we compare it to Khalil Herbert and D'Onta Foreman's lack of skills in the passing game, we know just how big of an edge Johnson has. Unfortunately, though, the Bears only targeted running back 61 total times in 2022, so I'm not so sure that the passing volume was going to be enough in this offense to make that role too fantasy friendly on its own. But it gets him on the field, and that is huge. Because once on the field, Roschon Johnson may perform well enough to cut into early down and red zone work as well. He could at least overtake D'Onta Foreman for second in line for the between the tackles carries. That could equal 7 to 10 carries on average per game. Unfortunately, that plus is probably only 2 to 3 targets won't make it enough to be a reliable option in fantasy football. As for D'Onta Foreman, he's likely the odd man out here. He'll start the season behind Herbert, but ahead of Roschon Johnson. However, Johnson's receiving skills are going to warrant increased usage, likely at D'Onta Foreman's expense. The bottom line is Khalil Herbert is the safest choice out of the Bears backfield. However, expectations should be tempered just a little bit as he will share carries with both Foreman and Johnson early in the season. Though I expect Herbert to retain the role atop the depth chart for the duration of the season, he will be an inconsistent option for fantasy football. Even if he's taking 15 carries per game, he's going to be severely lacking in valuable touches. Quarterback Justin Fields is a major threat to vulture touchdowns at the goal line, as are Foreman and Roschon Johnson. And we've already determined that Herbert will be minimally involved in the passing game, which really puts a heavy cap on his fantasy scoring potential. So that means, drum roll please, if I am drafting a running back from the Bears backfield, it's actually going to be Roschon Johnson. That's because I anticipate that he will capture the RB2 job by the second half of the season on top of a role on passing downs. Let's be clear here, this is a pure upside play. If anything were to happen to Khalil Herbert, Johnson could be in line for a significant workload. He has the explosiveness, size, and involvement in the passing game to unlock the highest ceiling of any Bears running back in 2023. Hey, if you like that video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment on what you want me to talk about next. You can find all my stuff, my rankings, articles, podcasts, more videos like this on YARDSPERFantasy.com. Just download the YARDSPER Fantasy app, and we thank you for your support.